into the data warehouse. Generally, when we are talking about SSIS, means SQL Server Integration, means we will talk about data loading. Here we used to do only data loading. So how we are going to load the data is the different areas, like let us say it might be from database to database table. So if it is a client system is some database, it might be Oracle, DB2, or else any MySQL, or else if any Spark, whatever it might be. Okay, so
Right.
from database to database table, or else if
Right.
client system is Excel sheet. So even some cases like we used to load the data from Excel sheets to database table. Okay, in
Right.
some cases like client may ask to load the data from database table to Excel sheets for any other purpose, or else
Oh, okay.
like it might be flat files to database table, or else vice versa, database tables to flat files.
That's right.
So the data altogether, SSIS will interact with the data, like, and it will tells us like how you are going to load the data. Okay, so this is what the concept that we are going to discuss in SSIS. So these are the different parts that we will discuss how we are going to load the data. So to load the data, when we are talking about loading the data using SSIS, so SSIS will act as an intermediate layer between the source and destination. Let us say this is the source here and this is the destination here. Using
Right.
SSIS, you are going to load the data. So that means SSIS needs to interact with the source system and SSIS needs to interact with the destination system. Then only the loading will happen. So to interact with the source systems or else to interact with the destination systems, we used to establish some connections in SSIS. Okay, so that means from SSIS to I mean source to SSIS we need to connect, and
Right.
SSIS to destination we need to connect. So these are nothing but the connection, building the connections. And
Connection.
before talking about the as a connections and the data loading part, let us see about the data, like how it will be in the source system. So let us say if
Right.
my sales system, okay, sales business, like whenever any purchase or any kind of transaction happens, so what I mean, how we are going to I mean, how we are going to enter the data is like every transaction will contain some date information. And let us say
Right.
talking about a sales, so obviously it will be on product. So product
Right.
name, if it is some kind of category, if it is any kind of category, product category,
Hmm.
or else how much quantity they purchased, or else sales, or else what is the cost price,
Right.
or else what is the sales price, and if you want to save the customer information, customer phone number,
Right.
customer location, and if we have multiple branches, then we used to say what is the branch details, and customer address, something like the information,
Right.
the record with they used to enter is similarly it should like this. Okay, date in the sense
Hmm.
like it might be some August 2017, product might be some Sony, and category might be some Sony mobiles, and quantity around 5, and its cost around 1 lakh, and the sales price is like around 90,000, and customer phone number like some phone number, customer location might be some Hyderabad, and since I'm having multiple branches, like I used to enter the branch information like branch B1, and the customer address also assume like it's Hyderabad. So
Right.
likewise we used to enter the information when the purchase when any purchase happened. So similarly, daily many more purchases will happen, and for each and every purchase, we used to enter the data like this. So this type of data we call as a transactional information. Transactional information. So we will get this transactional information, and we will make this information in an analytical format, and then load the data into the data warehouse. Okay. So by loading the data into data warehouse, we will split this information. We will split this kind of records, this transaction information, into two types generally. So one is like dimension information, and another one is fact information. Okay, so what is the dimension information? If you look at the record, we are having many entries over here, many columns in this particular record. So dimension is nothing but the descriptive information about the transaction. Okay, so descriptions. Descriptive information is like date, on which date they purchased,
Right.
what is the product, what is the product category, and
Location.
customer information. Okay, so customer information in the sense, again, it might be customer, phone,
Mm. Location.
location, and
Branch.
address. Okay, and coming to one more information is like branch. Okay, so these are all the descriptive information about the this particular record. And what about the fact information? That means like measurable information. Measurable information is like it is quantity, and cost price, and sales
Sales
price,
price.
something like this. This is called as a measurable information. So we used to maintain this kind of descriptive information in the dimension tables. So for date, we will create one date dimension table, and product dimension table, and product category table,
Yep.
and customer information table. So customer information table will contain location, address, phone number, email address, whatever the customer information we used to enter in the transaction. So those many entries we will maintain. Again,
So
some
these, so
so
all these different tables, right?
yes, yes,
Date goes in one table. It is dimension is not only one table, right? It's all different tables.
right.
Okay.
So these are all the different tables, and coming to the
Okay.
fact table, like we may maintain different fact tables as per the subject areas. Let us say if it is a sales subject area, so obviously sales subject area will contain some how much quantity we sold, and how much sales price, and what is the cost price of those transaction. Let us say if
Right.
the purchase kind of information, whenever we are maintaining some sales kind of business, obviously we need to purchase the goods from somewhere. So again, it might be a fact. So how much goods we purchased, and how much quantity it is, and how much goods are defective goods, and how many goods are so get from the warehouse to the branch. So likewise, like we used to maintain the fact tables. So assume like this is sales fact, and one more fact, we are having some uh, purchase fact. So something like that, according to the business requirement, like we used to maintain the fact tables. So who will decide these fact tables and dimension tables is like when a person in the sense, like when an architect or else a manager level people go to the customer, and they used to talk to the customer what is their business and what is the functionality of their business, and they will analyze their business, sitting with the customer. So after some discussion, like they'll come to know like what is the customer requirement, what they want to see in the report exactly. So based on that, like they will decide. So like what are the different dimensions that we can pull from the transactional information, and what are the different fact tables that we can make according to the transactional information. So once they decide like these different dimensions that we need to maintain in our data warehouse, and these are the different fact tables that we have to maintain in our data warehouse. So customer will prepare the requirement document. So that requirement document will contain what are the different dimension tables, and in that particular dimension table, what are the different columns that we need to maintain. And if it is a fact table, what is the fact table? I mean, what is the subject area that we want to maintain as a fact? And in the fact table, what are the different measures that we need to maintain? So these are all the raw measures, like the measure we are getting from the transactional information straight away. And we may need to have some more calculated information. Let us say, what is the total amount? If we are talking total amount, then we need to say like quantity into some sales price, or else let us say some if it is an individual cost price, let us say cost price is 20,000, and sales price is like around 18,000. So which is related for a single quantity. Okay, let us say if we are talking about what is the total sales price, then in that case I need to multiply quantity into sales price. Okay,
Right.
so when we are getting the data from the source to the destination, we have to multiply these two things, and we need to save that particular value in the total price column. So likewise, we may need to maintain a many what we can say. So many measurable columns as per the customer requirement. We don't know like exactly like what the customer want to see. So once we are discussing about when once we are discussing with the customer, they will tell us like these are the different measures that we are going to that we want to maintain, and we want to see them in the report. So how we are going to derive those metrics? So how to I mean as of now how they are calculating, we will ask them like as of now how they are calculating. So based on that, like we will derive the formula. Okay, so let us say what is the total price. So how they are maintaining quantity into sales price. The similar
Right.
formula we will derive in the while loading the data into SSIS and load the data into data warehouse. So similarly, like they may have different measures, and they may use different formulas to get the result. So we will maintain all the formulas and all the logics in our I mean SSIS, and we will load the data. So altogether, these are all will be decided by the customer and the data warehouse architect, whoever is sitting with the customer. And for the MSBI developer, end of the day, they will give you a requirement document. So in the requirement document, what are the different dimension tables? And in each dimension table, like end of the day, uh, like how they want to see the dimension data. Let us say date dimension. Date dimension in the sense date is containing day information, month information, and year information. Okay, so
Right.
end of the day, customer want to see the want to see a report on year wise. Okay, that means it should display only year. Okay, so
Right.
after that they want to see the hierarchy as in a year quarter level information.
Right.
So we need to display the quarter information. So next level it will be like monthly information. Then we need to display month. After that they want to see like weekly level. We want to show them like week one, week two, week three, week four, like that. So for the date dimension, they want to see this many hierarchies. Okay, year hierarchy, quarter hierarchy, month hierarchy, and then week hierarchy. So we have to save the data in this particular in this particular format. Okay, so in our database table we have to maintain year information, quarter information, month information, and week information like that. So once we load the data likewise, then end of the day in the report we can show them year wise, and then quarter wise, and then month wise, and then week wise, and we can give the relation between those two things. What is the parent and what is the child, like that. So
Right.
likewise, he will give us the hierarchies and the display format and everything. So display format where might be like, let us say he want to see the cost price, and the cost price must be then integer format, and he want to see the data with two decimal parts. So that means like
Right.
cost price is 20,000, and if it is like with two decimal parts means 20,000
Right.
double zero. So likewise he want to see, okay, 20,000. So likewise we want to see. So all these formats like we will keep in the display format at the time of building the reports. Okay. But even in the data warehouse also, while loading the data, we have to save the data in this particular format. That means like they doesn't want to lose any kind of decimals as well. So that's why they want to show the data. They want to see the data in this particular format. Okay, so they will give all the requirement like how they want to see the data and what is the data that you have to maintain perfectly in the fact table or else in dimension table. We will get all those requirements. Once we get the requirements, we can start working on those requirements. Okay, so building the fact table or else building the dimension table. So for now, like we are splitting the one transaction. This is what the transaction. So likewise, we will get many more entries in a particular day. Okay, so based on the popularity of the branch, so we may get 10,000 records, 20,000 RLs, 1 lakh records. So many records, like as per the customer visitings. So we will split all those records into dimensions and facts. So I'm telling about like fact table is containing only measurable information, and
Right.
dimension table is containing only descriptive information. But if you maintain only measurable information in fact, and if you are maintaining only descriptive information in the dimension tables, then those are not related. As of now, these two tables are not related. Why? Because
Right.
only descriptive information we are having and only cost information we are having. So if you look at the measure, and how can you say like this particular sales information, let us say this is what the sales information, and only this information I'm having in my sales fact. Okay, so by looking at this particular data, how can we say that this is related to a particular transaction? We can't say. And if you
Right.
save the data, date information, only a particular date information in your date table like this, or else in your fact table
Right.
product, we are having Sony. Okay, so how many sales were happened on a what we can say on Sony product? Then how can we say? So there might be some relation between dimensions and facts. So for that
Right.
purpose, how we are going to build a relation between dimensions and facts is a primary key and foreign key relation. So we used to maintain primary key and a foreign key relation. So what is a primary key in the sense like, let us say we are talking about a product table. Product table. So in the product table, let us say product name, product category, what we can say product number, something like that. So product
Right.
name is nothing but the different products that we are having in our branch or sales branch or else data warehouse, whatever it might be. Let us say we are having Sony, and Sony, and the category is like mobile, Sony mobile category, and product number is some S1234, and
Right.
again I'm having Sony, and it is come under TV, and product
Hmm.
number is some ST some 4536, something like that. And again some HTC. HTC mobile, it is under mobile category, and some of like product number is like what we can say uh, H820. Again Samsung mobile category. Okay, so it is like the, and again Samsung TVs. Okay, some SMTV, some, and Samsung cooler. Okay, something like that. We have to
Right.
maintain in our product and for product table. But for each and every record, what we give is one unique identification number. One, for this particular combination, we will give one. Okay, and these are the distinct combinations that are available in our transactional information. So since it is a
Right.
so for each and every record, we will give one identity. So likewise, we used to give the number. So this is nothing but the product ID. We call this one as a product ID, and this will act as a primary key in this particular product table. Okay, so let us say this is what the transaction happened, and in the fact table we have like, assume like we have sales fact. This is what the information we are having. So it is like what we can say, this is the quantity,
Quantity.
and this is the cost price,
Price.
and this is what the selling price. So
Right.
this particular record, what we do is we will get the this is from Sony Mobile. Okay, so for Sony Mobile, what is the ID for Sony Mobile in the product table? One.
One.
So we what we do is, instead of maintaining the description, we will get IDs and we will maintain those IDs in the fact table. So similarly, in the date table, assume like we are having a 365 for each year, we will get 365 days. For each and every
Right.
year, we can give like one ID. Okay, so that means like we will get 365 IDs for each and every record. So assume like for August 1st, we are having some 150 IDs, 150. So the date ID will be like 150. And branches, branch information, I'm having different branches, like if it is a branch table, then branch ID,
Branch ID. Branch name.
branch name, so, and then location. Why? Because in one area we may have multiple branches. Okay, so
Yeah.
likewise, so let us say branch one, branch name might be some what we can say Amirpet branch. Okay, so branch name will be like B1
I mean,
Amirpet, something like that. And branch ID 2, it might be some branch 2, and again this is also in Amirpet. So similar branches, two branches in a single area in one location. So again some branch,
right.
it might be some from KP, HB, something like that. So let us say
Right.
this transaction was happened in branch 1. So what is the branch 1 ID here? So this is what the 1.
One.
So branch ID 1. So likewise, we will maintain all the IDs, whatever the dimension that we are having, we will from the particular dimensions, we will get all those IDs, and we will make our fact table with the numbers and identity columns. Okay, so now this particular product ID will act as a primary key in the dimension table, and here it will come as a foreign key. That means one product we may have many transactions for one product, right? So Sony Mobile, let us say, like you went to one store and you purchased Sony Mobile. So when you purchased Sony Mobile, like you will they will enter one record like this. And again, if I go to the same branch and if I purchase same Sony Mobile, again second record will happen in the transactional database. That means like we may have multiple entries for a one product, right? So,
Right.
so in that case, like here we will get multiple entries for one product. So this will act as a foreign key, and here in the dimension table we are getting all the distinct product name and distinct product categories. So for each and every record we will give one ID. So this will act as a primary key and this will act as a foreign key. So in the dimensions and fact table we will maintain these relations. Okay, so primary key and foreign key relation. So that is what the relation that we mean that we maintain in the data warehouse while loading the data into dimensions and facts. So end of the day we will join these two tables in the reporting side. Like end of the day we will join these two tables, like join in the sense like we will say like these are the dimensions and these are the fact tables. Like we can prepare those things in the reports, and we will pull out the columns whatever we require. Let us say customer want to see a report like branch and the sales amount. In that case, like we will pick a location, I mean branch name from the branch table and the sales price from the sales fact table. That means back end these two tables will what we can say will form a join condition, and using that query like it will pick the data from the database. Okay, so
Mhm.
how they are joining in the sense like they will join based on the branch ID. What is the carbon column here? So this is the foreign primary key and this is the foreign key. So based on this they will join, they will join these two tables, and then it will pick the result. So the similar manner we used to load the data into the data warehouse. So in SSIS, what we do here, what we are going to discuss here is like how we are loading the data. Okay, so let us say you are getting this transaction information, and your manager or else architect asked you to prepare a product table, and they will tell you what are the information from this. For each and every table, like we will use this transaction information only. Okay, so assume like this is all this existed in a some particular table like sales info. In customer side they are maintaining the table like sales info. Okay, so whatever the dimension table you are going to build and whatever the fact table you are going to build, all those tables, this will be the source. So from this particular source you are going to pull the data related to product information. What is the information? Like you need this column product and category column. Okay,
Right.
and let us say if we are going to build some customer information, again we use sales information and we ignore all the columns and we just pull only these two columns, three columns, three columns: customer phone, customer location, and customer address. Again, if we are going to build some branch dimension, we will ignore all the columns and we just pull only
Yeah.
branch information, branch column. So likewise for each and every table we are going to build, this is what the base table that we are going to use. Okay, and what are the columns you have to maintain in your dimension table is it's up to the manager instruction or all the customer instruction. So let us say they want to pull some information from this particular sales information table into your customer information dimension table. So you have built your customer information dimension table, and altogether now you are going to populate the data. Then SSIS needs to interact with the sales information table. One second. Okay. So SSIS needs to interact with the sales information table, and
Mhm.
whatever the columns we required. Let us say for the customer dimension table, we require these three columns. So from the
Right.
from the sales information table, we will try to pull these three columns. We can write any query like select these three columns from sales information, or else straight away you can select your table, and whatever the columns you want to select, those columns like you can select in the SSIS component, and you can map those columns to the branch table to load the data. Okay,
Okay.
so whenever I'm talking about load the data into dimension table, again SSIS needs to interact with this branch table. Okay, so these are all, assume like these are all existed in our SQL server. So SQL server, that means like our destination tables all are existed in our SQL server. Okay, so in that case, you need to establish a connection for that SQL Server database. Okay, so wherever it is
Right.
existed, in real time we may have multiple servers. So all those
Right.
connection details and all, they will give you what is the server name that you have to interact, and what is the database that you need to interact.
Correct.
So based on the details they have provided, you will take those connection details and build a connection and interact with this particular SQL Server database, and then you will touch with this particular dimension table. Okay, so once you establish the connection, you can load the data. But when you are talking about load the data, you have to have interact with SSIS. In SSIS, to interact with the source and to interact with the destination. Okay, so for all these things, like we have predefined components defined in the SSIS. All what we need to do is just select the component and give the connection name, and then pull your table name. That means like whatever the things that you want, you just configure with that component and use the component. Okay, so we have all pre-defined components. We just pick those component and do required configuration and then use that. So that is what the thing that we are going to do in SSIS. Wherever you go, that is what the thing. Okay.
Okay.
So in SSIS, like to interact with SSIS or else SSIS or else anything or else, like you will interact with the SQL Server data tools. Okay, so once you are done with your installation in your machine, like you can
Mhm.
get this SQL Server data tools. Earlier, it is like bits, business
Right.
intelligence development studio. So now in
Right.
latest versions, they call as a SSDT, SQL Server Data Tools, and the icon looks like this. Okay, so
Right.
once after installation, you can see the programs like this. So SQL Server Management Studio, which you can use to interact with the databases. So whenever we are talking about creating a dimension table, creating a fact table, or else loading the data, or else updating the data, in the sense like we have to go back to the backend and check. I mean, using some related queries. Okay, so this is what the thing that we are going to interact with the database. SQL Server Management Studio, simply SSMS. After
Right.
that, you can see once after installation, uh, where it is. See SQL Server data tools. You can see the SQL Server data tools. Okay.
Right.
So using that, like you can interact with the the components of SQL Server, SSIS, ASRLs, SQL Server reporting services. So just click on that SSTT. So empty window like this, like you can go to the file and then go to
Mhm.
new and then project. Since it's a beginning, like we will go to the project like that. After that, like you
Mhm.
can say left side, you can see the business intelligence component, analysis,
Right.
integration, reporting services. And what you have to do is you can get a SQL Server evaluation version. Okay, evaluation version. So this evaluation version will give you all the components, well, all the required components. That means it will obviously when you are installing, you will get SQL Server. So apart from the SQL Server, you need SSIS, SSIS components, SSRS components. So if you take SQL Server evaluation version, like you will get all these things: SQL Server, SSIS, and AS and RS. So it will give
Okay.
you like around 180 days trial period. Okay, so that means like around
Okay.
6 months. So for practice purpose, this is pretty much enough. So just try to get a 2012 or 2014. Anything is fine. Okay.
Okay.
So once after successful installation, like you can see, you are able to see all these three components. Okay. So at the time of
Right.
installation, I think like you have to select whatever the required components you want to have in your machine. Like you have to select explicitly. So let us say now you are going to interact with the integration services. Just select integration services and integration services project. Come down there, you can see name, location, and solution name. So
Right.
now like location where you want to save this particular project. So I want to save this project in my local drive and it's a E drive. Okay, and the what is the name of the project that you are going to give? Like let us say I will give some uh, project underscore Sobi. So for
Right.
solution, whatever the name I am giving in the name column, the similar name it is taking for the solution name as well. So
Okay.
understanding purpose, like what I will do is I will make this one as solution. Okay.
Right.
So generally the hierarchy will be like this. We will have one solution. Under this solution, we will have a project. Under one project,
Okay.
like, we will have packages. Okay, so in a
Okay.
particular solution, like we may have multiple projects,
Right.
project one, project two, like that. So under one project, we may have multiple packages.
Right.
So like that. So this is what the general hierarchy. So under this particular solution, we are going to create a project. So just click on OK.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the this is what the workspace work area that you are going to work for a SSIS development. So by default, see at the top you can see the solution underscore Sobi. Whatever the solution, this is what the
Okay.
solution that we are creating. Under this particular solution, this is what the project. Right side you can see Solution Explorer tab, and under that like
Right.
the project underscore Sobi. Under that project, like you can see the packages, SSIS packages. Okay, so by
Right.
default, the default name will be like package.dtsx, but you can rename the package like whatever you want. In real time, like
Okay.
you are going to load different dimensions and different fact tables and different tables for your implementation purpose. So for better understanding, you have to follow the naming conventions as per the customer requirement. So then only like
Right.
you can understand. So in particular package, what you are loading and what is the purpose of that package. Okay, so and
Okay.
the day you are some other person join in your project, and they can easily understand. Okay, so like in real time, you may have multiple packages and very big packages. So in that case, like if you are facing any issue and if you want to debug the issue in any case, like it is pretty much easy for you. Like if you maintain proper naming conventions. Okay, so just if
Right.
you want to open any package, double click on the package, it will open the window like this. So this is what the work area that you are going to work for, SSIS components. Okay, so work for SSIS, data loading part and all. So we will see like how you are going to build a connection with the source and destination, on how we are pulling source table and destination table, and mapping that those tables like source and destination tables.